Welcome back to Let's Talk About It. And as part of our cybersecurity awareness series, today we're talking about Microsoft 365 compliance and backup. Take it away, James. What is Microsoft 365 compliance all about? Do we need it? Why is it existing?
Why does it matter? Why are we talking about this today? Does anybody care? This is actually a pretty big topic that a lot of people are not addressing, and we feel it's
Yes.
important that they should. And of course, a lot of MSPs are not talking about this either, and again, they should be.
We're letting the cat out of the bag.
Right? We're pulling back the curtain and showing them all the secrets so that we're going to be a black sheep of the IT world, you know? But no, what's the main thing to understand is that Microsoft creates this infrastructure for you to manage your office automation. So they give you the software, they give you the cloud servers, they give you all these things. The infrastructure is there. They guarantee the 99.99% uptime stuff that a data center would as well. But they don't take responsibility for protecting your data, for securing it, for doing any of that stuff.
So how you use it every day.
Right. So we're creating this environment that you can use, no problem. You're going to pay us a monthly fee per person per month, but how you secure it, how you protect it, how you back it up, all these things that you want to do with it, how you connect it to other software, is that secure? All these things, they wash their hands of that. They don't care about that stuff. They will provide, the SharePoint, the OneDrive, the mailbox, all the stuff that you're using. They'll provide up to 30 days of you can get that back. You made a screw up, you deleted something by accident, you can deal with that. Anything past that, you're on your own. Like, they're just washing their hands.
So I think a lot of people think it is backed up,
right?
And it is not by default.
Let's be honest. They're probably not going anywhere anytime soon. Neither is Google, neither is Apple.
No.
They're here for the long haul probably, but we can't expect that they're going to protect our stuff. They're just not going to do that. And it's not backed up. Just because it's on a cloud server doesn't mean it's protected. It might be protected for a short period of time that they will have given you access to, simply because to make the product work well, we want it to be able to be accessible. But all the other components of protecting it and securing it, we're responsible for.
So how do I know if I'm using whatever Word, I'm using OneDrive? How do I know if I'm using it correctly, and how do I know if I'm compliant, and compliant to what?
Yeah, these are all great questions. So, and this is what people are asking, and this is why this has come about and why we're talking about it today, is that, if you're going to get some cyber insurance, let's say, there's going to be some security measures you need to put in place to be able to get that insurance. And a lot of these things are not obligatory yet, but they're going to be soon. So we'd like to be proactive, as we usually are with all of these products, and we try to implement stuff before you're forced to do it. So
what if I'm really careful how I use them?
That's what everybody says. And again, we'll bring it back to the code 8. 8 inches from the keyboard is sometimes the issue. No offense. But the general gist is that it's a really daunting task to be digging around in the MS365 tenant, which is the realm of what they're supplying to you with their product. Digging around in there, trying to secure stuff, trying to find out best practices, all these things. There are articles.
It's complex, right? There's a lot there.
There are articles on the web. We can read about it. We can do all these things. But there are companies now that provide a software that will actually go and connect into the tenant for you. And they know all the best practices. They have templates all set up, and they will scan the environment, and they'll tell you with a fancy report, these are the things that we see as lacking. So this could be passwords that are not, tough, or that are not difficult. This could be passwords not set at all. Believe it or not, still exists. I mean, you still got to log into your tenant, but two-factor authentication, that's not active, or it's active for a few people, not all. It's not active for the admin, but it's, so there's a lot of different things.
What is that two-factor authentication?
Yes, another acronym. So two-factor authentication is the process by which you're going to log into whatever portal it is. It's, in this particular case, we're talking about 365. Potentially, that's a security risk. If somebody gets your password and get into your account, they can do a whole bunch of things. They can forward your emails other places. There's things they can do.
They become you.
Right? They literally could be. So two-factor, what that does is, yes, you have your password that should be strong, have characters and numbers and fancy things, but also you're going to get a code on your phone that says, is this you? I see you're trying to log into your account. Is this you? If it is, use this code as a secondary factor for how you're going to get into your mailbox. So typically the bad actors may be able to find your password, maybe on the dark web or whatever. The chances that they're going to be able to get your code that's on your personal cell phone when you're trying to log in, 0 to none. It's almost impossible that they would be able to get into your
Right.
mailbox. And two-factor, we were talking about it for your 365 account, but we should be doing this for all aspects, as far
It,
as I'm concerned.
yeah, it should be on everything you use that supports it, and it sometimes gets called MFA, multi-factor
Multi-factor authentication.
authentication as well. But
It's
same idea. It's
Yeah,
multiple
you're
factors
not getting
of
into the portal
authentication.
you're trying to access without putting in that special code secondary to the password you have.
Right.
So all of these things get audited. We'll do this posture audit, we call it. So it's, where do you stand now? What's happening? What's missing? What could be done better? And then after we remediate, that's part of the process. Obviously, us as the MSP are going to go now and fix all these things we noticed. Then after that, you want to kind of be monitoring what's happening, because all of this stuff, none of this stuff is one and done, right? We've said this before.
Right.
You got to be monitoring all this stuff. You got to be checking. Things are changing all the time. You use your race car analogy. I love that one. That's fantastic.
Well, I mean, it, it isn't, again, it's not one of the one and done things that you do. Like maybe you prepare your car for a race that you're going in 2 months, and then you get to race day and
There's a flat tire.
there are problems with it. So
Yeah.
so you need to have all of these components. They really need to be ongoing.
Agreed. Yeah.
Security is a continuous effort. It's
Yeah.
same as your house. You can't lock your door just once. You need to lock it all the time when you leave.
And why have an alarm system on your home, even if it's not being monitored by someone, in
Right.
case something does go wrong? You got to send the police, or you got to verify, was that a real alarm trip?
That's exactly it.
So the monitoring and management aspect, we talk about this all the time, is what an MSP does well. So that's part of it, right? Is there's the posture monitoring. How are you? Has anything changed in your environment? And then of course there's the best practices. These are the things that we think you should be doing based on, maybe you need to be compliant to some sort of a standard. In Quebec, we have the Loi 25, which is helping nonprofits to protect the data of their citizens, of their volunteers, of the people that they service. Let's say in a food bank, for example. So any data that we're collecting on people's behalf, you need to protect that. You can't just have people's social insurance numbers and health status and things like
Right.
that available for anyone to steal. You need to be able to protect that.
And what about like a big part of that, I think, is being able to validate that and not just say, well, we're very careful.
Yeah, because you mentioned that before. Everybody's very careful, but let's prove it. Let's see a report that's going to show that
Right.
you've done these things and that you are protected. And a lot of these reports are valid for these cyber insurance companies and such. So it would be proof that you've done what you said you're doing, and you're protecting this stuff properly. I think a lot of business owners are going to be very concerned about this. How are things going? Because it's all smoke and mirrors for them, right? They don't understand. Even for us sometimes, don't you find it aggravating going into the tenant and they've moved
extremely
stuff again?
complex. Yeah, it really is. So I mean, this allows you to apply templates that
Yes.
are best in class and fit with
Yeah.
the different compliances that you need to meet, and then validate it.
Yeah. And then of course the ongoing monitoring of what's been happening, having agents on the computers, making sure we're watching. That's also an added benefit for, I don't know if you've heard of this term, shadow IT, where there is softwares that are being installed by maybe the marketing manager that they were going to implement at some point, never did. It's sitting there with a very weak password. It's an exposure to that company
Right.
through that software. So these agents will monitor all that. They'll give us a
that
report.
kind of thing you're seeing more and more today.
You are.
As well. So.
You are. I mean, I've even heard stories of people getting in through the web interfaces of the printers, because nobody ever puts a password on that.
Right.
You can log into that printer and potentially get access to some things on the network. So these are all the things that a 365 compliance audit would show and allow us to remediate and allow us to show the boss, look, these are things we need to do. They're important to be done for these
and your
reasons.
insurance company as well. If you need to prove compliance to
They're going to love that. Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
able to through
And
proper
and this is
reporting.
what we keep saying all the time is that if you're working with us, potentially a lot of these check boxes are going to already be done, but still there's software that's going to go and look. The pen testing we talked about last session, there's things that we can do to prove even further that you are
Right.
completely secure, and it's
And
needed,
not just proving it, but you have taken the appropriate steps
Yeah, there's reporting that'll show you,
to do
what's
that.
going on. Maybe you might want to talk about as well the SaaS backup, the software as a service backup.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's another important part of it. I think a lot of people feel that they're backed up with Microsoft 365, and you're not. But by default, you have 30 days of retention, meaning if you delete something in your mailbox, it still sits for 30 days before it disappears permanently. But with SaaS backup, you go back to a year, or there's also
Unlimited, I think.
plans
Yeah.
that are unlimited. That's right, that go back further. So usually what happens when you find out somebody's deleted an
It's
important
months
document,
later.
it's can be months later, and then you're able to pull that back up. And the
Yeah.
same with email, you're able to
Yeah.
pull that back up. We've seen that happen a number of times with clients where it's gotten deleted, and it's an important piece of email, maybe to prove something for a court case or something, and we're able to
To get
restore it
it
and get
back.
it back for them.
So the two things I think that are important to underline with that is that we're literally taking that mailbox, the contents of the OneDrive, the SharePoint shares, we're taking all that and we're moving it somewhere else. We're taking it off Microsoft servers, putting it on another cloud server somewhere else, protecting it, making sure it's available. It's a small cost per desk per month,
It's
per
very small
license per
cost.
month, let's say, and it protects everything. We're sure that we're fine. One of the examples that we use a lot is you have an intern student over the summer that's working, for July till September, and only in November, when you're looking for all that Christmas package stuff, do you realize that they've just wiped out this whole folder of stuff that you totally needed.
Man, you always pick on the interns.
But you don't find out about that stuff until later because they've been doing their work
Yeah,
throughout the
you always
summer.
find out when it's too late.
So
So
this is a
this
perfect example of being able to get that back. The mailbox that they were using, usually it's a temporary one, everything that was included in that work they did over the summer would be
we don't
protected.
think backup enough with the cloud, because that's still, just when you had a server in your office, you backed it up. It's the same thing in the cloud. You
Yeah,
you need to do the exact same thing, so that you don't lose that data.
agreed. Well, I think that'll cover it for today.
Thanks for tuning in and watching our show. And please make sure to post your comments and questions below, and hit that subscribe button. And we will see you next time.
Bye.